hurdle this year. He was 5th in the race last year. He he finished behind Rev de Sibylla. Rev de Sibylla is the second favourite. He's won the Cleeve hurdle and the long walk. Do you think he can win the race last year? Was there a problem with him last year?
He's only ever, I'd say, had 2 below par runs. One was last year in the World Hurdle when he was beaten and well beaten. And they say he didn't stay. He wouldn't have won at 2.5 miles, so he didn't turn up at all last year. And this year, in his last run in the Cleeve hurdle when he was beaten by Rev de Sibylla, he just didn't travel. He was very flat on the day. Never went through the race with any kind of zest or anything. And he stayed on and finished second. And he ran a good race. He proved he got the trip, so he seems in much better form now. His previous wins, he was devastating. He made running over 2.5 on heavy ground and won well. Beat Crackaway Jack with 15 lengths, and he only beat Crackaway Jack 3 or 4 lengths the last day. So I think if he goes to Cheltenham in the form he was in on his previous run, he'd take all the beating. I'd be very sweet with him. I think he's a good price at 7-2. Of the main dangers, Sullivan is the one I've been talking about all week. He's a grade 1 winner. He's beaten Hurricane Fly. He's been second and third by Hurricane Fly. He's won over 2.5. There wouldn't be a big doubt about him getting the trip, but he's the one. He's the other high-class horse in the race. There is a lot of negative talk about Rev de Sibylla, about his well-being. He's had a lot of problems, and there's a big question mark about him.
Okay, that's interesting. Noel, it's been 18 years since there was an Irish win of the race. Your lad had a decent chance, but unfortunately it looks as though he's not going to make it, which is a big blow for you.
Yeah, it surely is, yeah. We've been crying all day.
He had his chance. Who do you think will win the race now?
I thought Oscar Whiskey is the class horse in the race. I actually, Barry said everything I was thinking myself. I thought Oscar Whiskey is in a different, he's just a different grade to these. Like, he's not far short of a champion hurdle horse, and I think he's just a class act. And like as he said, I think Solwith, if he came back to his best, is the one that could maybe push him out. And it wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility that he could turn up and be a very strong force on the day. Charles Burns could just have him pretty well, and I'd say he won't lack from fitness coming from there. And he is a tough horse, and again a high class horse. I didn't know about the doubts about he looks to me to be an out and out galloper. I just think if Barry's horse is back to his very best, he's just tracking in that he's in.
Okay, thanks Noel. Barry, I know you have to catch a flight this evening, so we're going to go through the remaining races with yourself, and we're also going to talk to you about about some of the handicaps, and maybe try and get a horse from you for the weekend as well to pay the Cheltenham expenses. But if we could start, Barry, with Bobsworth, who is the favourite for the Gold Cup. I mean, he won the RSA chase, he beat First Lieutenant, he's won the Hennessy chase, and that was a brilliant performance in the Hennessy chase, but he hasn't won since then, and some people are kind of saying, okay, that may be a bit of a drawback. How is he well? He worked well recently, didn't he? And how do you rate his chances in the Gold Cup?
No, I'm very sweet on him. The Hennessy form is the strongest form of the year. He beat Tidal Bay and he beat First Lieutenant and beat them well. I thought on the day he could have been fitter. He hasn't had the chance to run since, but he hasn't been held up with any problems. He had a tiny lung infection when he missed his run in January. He never missed a day's work, so he's in great shape. I would work in Kempton a fortnight ago, and he worked really well. He schooled last weekend, he schooled brilliantly. You couldn't be any happier with the horse. If he had a form figure and had a run and won in January, you wouldn't be asking the question. So I'm very, very sweet on this fella. It's a good race. Sort of Champ, I have a big concern about him, or not even a concern, the opposite. He's not a big concern with him because his form isn't strong enough. He beat Clemenceau the last day, who had Stoke badly afterwards, and John Call was third. John Call hasn't won a race in about 3 years, so he was about 30 lengths back and third, so that's not good enough. I'd be afraid of Nichols' horse on the way back from a break, and I think Long Run is a chance as well.
Silviniaco Conti hasn't had much experience around the track. He's been running on flat tracks. It looks as though Paul Nichols doesn't have a Gold Cup horse, so all of a sudden Silviniaco Conti is a Gold Cup horse. What's your view on that?
Well, he beat Long Run early in the year and head up. He won in Weatherby, and he was third in the Felton, not far behind Bobsworth last year as a novice chaser. So, no, he's won an Ascot, which is on the side of a hill as well. So, I think he's a big player. He'd improve a lot for fitness for his last run in Newbury when he won. So, he's one of the ones I worry about.
And a word on long run, obviously you know long run well, obviously Samuel Collins, right? He probably half the price of AP was on him, or yourself, Barry. But it's hard to crap what he's done so far. But having said that, he probably is up against it this year.
No, he's won 2 King Georges in the Gold Cup. You have to respect him. He's going to wear cheap pieces, which are a big help. I think Cheltenham also plays more to his strengths than Kempton, so I think you'll see a better horse in Cheltenham than you saw in Kempton. I think he's definitely a massive player.
Okay, well the reason he's wearing cheap pieces is so he can't see the jockey that's on his back. Barry, O'Connor is the favourite for the champion hurdle, but Rolling Star is second favourite, and he won a Grade 2 trial at Cheltenham, so he's won over the course, but that's a really hot contest, the Triumph this year.
It is. He won well in Cheltenham back during the year, and he proved he handled the track. That was heavy ground. I thought him today he preferred better ground. He jumped nicely. He should be better for the run. I think he's a massive chance, and I know Nicky's very sweet on him. I think it's one of the best trials we've seen in recent years. O'Connor is a very good horse. I'd be fearful of him. And Far West, who won really well early in the season in Cheltenham and looked like a real stayer, but he sprinted away from River Meade and Ascot the last day, so I think he's a massive chance. I would be biased, obviously, with Rolling Star, but I'd be very fearful of the other two.
Okay, the bumper. Do you have a ride in the race yet, Barry?
I ride Blackmail on the bumper, who I think is a good chance, but I'd be a little bit fearful of the ground. He rode more than Leverson last weekend. He worked nicely, but he was going okay through the worst of the ground before the turn in, but he hit the good ground in the straight. He picked up and sprinted. So I'd say if we did happen to get him trying for the Wednesday, I think he'd have a big chance to bump him, but on soft ground I think he might struggle.
It's a wide open race. I mean, Golden Tilla, obviously a very expensive purchase by Barry Connell, and Liz Doyle is a lovely horse there as well in Levant Donn.
Yeah, he could be the one, Levant Donn. Liz Doyle trained Alpha up before and Cheltenham, so she knows what it takes to be competitive with the bumper, and they're very sweet on him. Golden Tilla disappointed in that bit of work, maybe that's when he didn't just run up to the scratch, so you'd have to be a bit wary of him.